All right, so I watched the Euphoria Season 3 trailer, and I had a couple of reactions at the same time. One was obviously, heck yeah, ass.
Simp.
I mean, I love Sydney Sweeney, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
Simp.
But the second reaction that I immediately felt was annoyed. And that second reaction is the reason I'm making this video. So the first time we see Cassie in the trailer, it's a perfectly framed ass shot. It's like they're saying, hey, check it out. This is why you're here, right? It was just too self-aware. And she was all smiles. So I thought, when the hell has Cassie ever been happy? It just looks like they completely changed the character at her core, and that told me everything I needed to know about their strategy. If they wanted to do the whole OF angle, fine, but there were definitely better ways they could have done it. In the trailer, she's got like dog ears on, and she's smiling, performing, leaning into the whole thing like it's fun. But that's not Cassie. That's marketing, and not just to the Euphoria fans. They're marketing to Sydney Sweeney fans. They're marketing to OnlyFans users. And I'm not saying this couldn't have worked. If they wanted to have Cassie do an OF, it should have been consistent with her character. Cassie is needy. She has issues. She's desperate to be loved, eager to please. So why not frame it as tragic instead of playful? Imagine instead of the playful, out-of-character bullshit we saw in the trailer, we see Nate yelling at her. He grabs her. He slams her up against the wall, yells in her face, typical douche Nate stuff. And he's saying he doesn't care if she doesn't want to do it, that they have bills to pay. So she wipes the tears off her face, she forces a smile, and then she turns the camera on and starts performing. That's Cassie. Sad, desperate, and compulsive. The kind of girl that viewers watch and think,
I would never treat her like that.
This is the character we've watched for 2 seasons and thought about how we all wish we could protect her from dudes like Nate.
You're a simp.
That would have been psychologically consistent with the character. Instead, we get happy Cassie wearing dog ears. And yeah, she's hot.
Simp.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to watch for that reason, and that reason alone. But for me, the writing still has to be good. Meaning if Cassie is hot, but the writing sucks, I'm not going to waste my time watching that. Period. That's the standard for me, and that's why this whole thing bothers me. Rue's storyline looks to be about where you'd expect it to be 5 years later, assuming the character even lived that long. It feels consistent. She was a questionable character before, and she still is. Nate still looks like a complete douche, which is fine because that's the character. He's supposed to be a douche. No issues there. Was Jules even in this? I don't know. I was distracted by the whole Cassie thing. The ass was like a camera flash, so it took me a minute to shake off the afterglow.
Simp.
But I do feel like Rue and Nate were at least consistent. Cassie wasn't. Early Cassie was tragic, insecure, desperate for love, addicted to validation. Her sexuality made sense because it was psychologically driven. It wasn't there to turn the audience on. It was there to show how she was trying to survive emotionally. And the proof of that was how it was always framed up. It was always a little off and a little awkward. Cinematically, those were not glamour titties. Those were casualty titties. It reflected that her sexuality was more of a casualty than ownership. And here's the part that a lot of people miss. There were never these perfectly framed, center of the screen, optimized shots of Cassie's body before. The camera wasn't trying to sell her. It was trying to experience her. It captured the emotion the character was likely feeling in those moments. Awkwardness, uncertainty, vulnerability, that weird mix of wanting to be wanted but not really understanding what that means yet. That's what made it feel real. It was also more true to how stuff like that feels in real life at that age. In real life, you don't get perfect cinematic views. You don't get composed, flattering angles. Things are messy, crooked, half-seen. You're nervous, distracted, and in your own head. The moments usually seemed fragmented, emotional, and uncertain. And the early seasons shot Cassie like that on purpose. That's why this new framing bugs me. When the camera becomes centered, composed, and optimized, the meaning changes. It stops being about what the character is experiencing and starts being gratuitous. And that's not a small shift. It's a fundamental one. Think about when a band suddenly makes it and they change their entire sound. It used to be about the music, now it's about the money. And that's what's happening here. And yeah, the caveman part of my brain absolutely appreciates the perfect framing.
Simp.
But that's not the point. The point is that's never been the case on this show. It's like the show itself is suddenly using Sydney Sweeney's image and stardom the same way dudes in the store used Cassie's body. And I don't think that's clever. I think it's lazy. And yeah, I get it. The season's probably going to get more viewers than the previous ones because Sydney Sweeney is now the biggest sex symbol in Hollywood. Maybe the only one. This will absolutely help her career. Good for her. Seriously. But I want to be clear. I'm not criticizing her. I'm criticizing the show. The writing on this show is responding to her real-world celebrity status instead of its own internal character logic. And when that happens, it breaks the immersion. It stops being art and becomes a product. It becomes self-aware in the worst possible way. If the writers were confident in Cassie as a character, they wouldn't have introduced her with a butt shot. shot. They'd introduce her with something psychological or sad. Instead, they introduced her like an OF ad. It's just not character driven, and I hate that because Euphoria used to be better than that. Yeah, it's a teen show or whatever, and I'm probably not the key demo, but I always appreciated the artful aspect of the whole thing. Yes, I said art. If you know anything about film, you know exactly what I mean. The thing is, I don't watch movies or TV because I like actresses. If a movie or TV show sucks, I turn it off. I only stick with shows if I like the writing or the psychology. I like watching characters grow and evolve, and yes, I like them to make sense. There are actresses I find insanely attractive who've been on long-running shows that I've never watched because the stories just looked dumb. Hot doesn't keep my attention. Compelling stories do. So if Cassie is hot but the story sucks, I'm not finishing it. That's me being selective about how I spend my time. I do wonder how they're going to handle the death of the actor that played Fesco. I mean, he was hit in the crossfire in the season 2 finale, so I suppose that's when they'll say he passed. Works for me. And Nate's dad has ALS in real life, but I suppose they'll say he left the family in the name of gayness or something character-driven, and that's fine. And where the hell is Maddie? Was she even in this trailer in any meaningful way? And what about that fat chick who was doing cam modeling? Where did she go? Was she even in season 2? As an interesting side note, though, they did introduce a whole lot of brand new black characters. I didn't see it in the trailer, but I have to wonder if they're going to introduce a brand new popular black girl. Anyway, you tell me, am I overthinking this? Should I just shut the fuck up and enjoy the Sweeney parts? I don't know, man. I think the whole thing just annoyed me because it was just a little too on the nose and predictable. But you tell me, am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know all the reasons I'm an idiot in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, click notifications, and I will see you next time.